Well, hello everybody. I thought I'd come on a little bit early today because of work deadlines and things like that I'm under the gun today, so to speak. So I'm a little bit early, but today's video is very important for a lot of you who are confused, who have emailed me, messaged me about the need to go to an ABA approved school, which means American Bar Association approved school. And some of you have started a program in a school or a certificate, but I'm going to talk about a 2-year program right now. And then you heard this from other people that you should be in an ABA. It's A, B like in boy, A, in case you haven't heard of that. And it's American Bar Association. So, is this mandatory, number one, to get hired? And the easy answer to that is absolutely not. However, and there's a caveat to that, okay? When you're looking at the ads and they're specifically asking for that, I'm not a person who takes no for an answer easily, okay? And that comes in handy when you're working as a paralegal, when you're trying to get answers, either from clients who are not telling the truth, or vendors who may not be telling the truth, or you've got to really push to get the truth, okay? So, if I was applying to a job and I saw ABA approved candidates preferred, would that mean because I got a 2-year degree or I got a certificate that has nothing, say, to do with being ABA approved, am I X'd out? Am I not allowed to apply to those jobs? You can apply to any job you want. It's up to them to say no. And so I see people when that, and I know I felt this way in the beginning. Oh, I shouldn't apply to that. That's over my head. Or no, I didn't go that route. Will I ever be able to land a job? Do not take the ad as written in stone when it comes to breaking into this field, this business, okay? This career. Don't let any of that stop you, okay? So, are they serious when they say this? When they use the word preferred, that doesn't mean the door is shut to you. So, if you went to a non-ABA approved school, or you didn't go to any school, can you still apply to those jobs? Well, what's going to happen if you apply? You know, is the are alarms going to go off? No. No alarms are going to go off. There's no harm, no foul in applying. So don't hold yourself back this way. Now, I know that when I lived in Florida and I just moved to Eastern Tennessee, when I moved to Florida, what I saw in the city government in my town, and in the town just north of me, I lived near Daytona. Both of those city departments, they preferred someone to have a 2-year degree and be certified through NALA or NFPA. So that does not mean certificate, by the way. I want you to get clear on that if you're not. A certificate is one thing. That means when you get your certificate, you are certificated, but you are not certified. So don't think that that's the same thing. People who get certified as a paralegal, they go through 2 years of schooling, and the organizations that certify you have strict guidelines. So you either have to go to NALA, N-A-L-A, that's located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you have to look at what their guidelines are. What do they require? And is it that they require an ABA approval? That's for you to go there and find out, okay? And if that's the case, then that's the only way to get certified. But they have many different guidelines. Like, their guidelines cover different criteria for becoming certified. It's not just one way, okay? So look up that, educate yourself, go to their website, look it up on Google, National Association of Legal Assistants, that's NALA, or NFPA, and I think their website is called the N like in Nancy, F like in Frank, P like in paralegal, A like in apple. Okay, and that's the national, I believe, National Federation of Paralegal Associations. That's what I think it is. So look that up, okay? And by the way, when you look up paralegal requirements or regulations in Google, and that I implore you to look that up, paralegal regulations, the NFPA website, they have a great listing of the regulations for each state. And that's important that you look at that, because each state left the door open for people to be called paralegals who, some chose not to go to school. Some went and they ended up with a certificate. Others did the 2-year, and each state has allowed entry into this field in certain ways, and they usually cover all 3 of those. So you can have a 2-year degree, you can have a certificate, or none of the above. And eventually, when you don't have any of the above, they have a requirement that you have to work for an attorney for a certain amount of years doing substantive paralegal work, meaning you're going to create documents. The attorney's going to ask you to create a motion or a complaint, and you write it. And then the attorney will tweak it and add and subtract and revise. But it doesn't mean 3 years of working for an attorney primarily doing clerical work, okay? So they have guidelines within each state, and the NFPA website, but if you look up NFPA paralegal regulations, they have a great list, and you'll find your state on there. And if you don't find it on there, then you have to do some more research on Google to locate it, okay? So is everybody attending a school that is ABA approved? No. Is everybody attending a certificate program that's ABA approved? No. But I want you to make sure that you have this clear, that when you get a certificate, that does not mean you're certified. Okay? People who get a 2-year degree based on what NALA requires or NFPA requires, once they're done, then they go through the certification process, okay? And that's not cheap. And NALA will talk about that, and you can, go into other paralegal groups and ask about the cost of all that, or look it up on your own, okay? And do that investigation. Now, are private law firms going to require this? No, private law firms are separate businesses, their own businesses, and the lawyers there, the ones that are the partners in the law firm, they decide, or that individual lawyer will decide, it doesn't matter to me as long as you know what you're doing. Remember, there's very little training, that they don't put you through training within the law firm. You have to learn this on your own. You know, if you're wise, you will. There's a whole lot of things you have to learn on your own. And the attorneys don't have time to train, and neither do the paralegals, even if the ad says so. So be very careful with that, okay? The workplace requirements are a very individual thing based on what they believe. Many attorneys will hire people without any education whatsoever. Okay? And why would they do that? Because they're very concerned about the money. And when they see higher degrees, some attorneys, not all, but some are scared off by that. Does that mean they're all scared off? No. Listen to what I'm saying. They're very independent of one another. So nobody is like, all of this is in a box and this is how everybody works. Not so. You know, a paralegal who has 5 years experience, for instance, when I look at an ad, I don't worry about whether anything that I did was ABA approved, because now I have experience under my belt. And when you land that first job, when you get your foot in the door and you track everything you're learning in your notebook, your private notebook that you keep with you, and you write down everything you're learning, the documents you're learning how to do, everything, how to manage all of the workload, how are you doing that? That's what you trade off on. That equals higher pay. So that first job, yes, is very important. If you go in as a receptionist, more than likely, you're going to be spinning your wheels. You will not be given substantive work to do. So how will you trade off on that? But if you go in as an entry-level paralegal, as an entry-level legal secretary, perhaps like as I did, legal receptionist, legal secretary combination, that's pure gold. And you're able to always trade up on that experience, and you have to put a lot into it, okay? And so whether you go to school or not is of no importance, because the 2-year degree does not give you the practical. And if you can, before you graduate from your 2-year degree program and your certificate program, before you start sending out your resumes and cover letters, take my course, Paralegal Inner Circle class, and the Cover Letter Secrets class as your final thing before you start putting out your resume and cover letter. So important to you. So, not being ABA approved, your curriculum, your school, anything that you're involved with right now, will that be just a waste of your time by not having that? No, it won't. Okay? I have people that are contacting me from other countries that want to move to the U.S. and they can move to the U.S. So they're wondering if they can get a paralegal job. Well, if they meet the criteria of being able to explain to the attorney how they're going to help the attorney, you know I preach this all the time. You have to know how you're going to assist the attorney. That's a question you have to answer here, because you're going to have to explain yourself. And when you're in it, and it's actually before the interview that you have to explain yourself. That's why I teach the Cover Letter Secrets class. And the attorney will hire a zero experienced person, a non-experienced person, because they know that they will be able to, they talk about they'll be able to train you in their ways, but they really don't train. Okay, so don't count on that. When you're looking at a specific area of law and you're seeing jobs that are open right now, that's very important, right? Then you have to investigate, what does that paralegal do every day in that job? You have to find that out. What are the paralegal duties? So that is far more important than anything else, because you have to know how to help the attorney, how to assist the attorney. So if you're bent and you're like, well, I want to get a degree, it's been a dream of mine, then do it. You know, I have a master's in biblical counseling. Does that help me as a paralegal? In some ways, dealing with clients, it does. But is that impressive to the attorneys? No. I have a 2-year degree in criminal justice. Did that ever help me in my paralegal career? No, it did not. But I was looking at back in that, many years ago, going to law school. So that's why I went that way. And at that point, I couldn't get a 4-year in paralegal studies and then go to law school. So I went to criminal justice. If I put that on my resume now, will the attorney be impressed with my criminal justice 2-year degree or my 4-year or my master's in biblical counseling? No. What they want to know is how I'm going to help them in the everyday work. And that goes for the beginner too. They don't just assume that because I have 31 years experience. I have to sell my skills to this day to new attorneys. I have to tell them what I know how to do. That's what you have to do even as a beginner. When the mistake is thinking that they're going to put you in a conference room and train you. They do not do that. No one has the time. So that's where your focus should be, on finding out what the duties of the paralegals are, the everyday duties. We don't act as attorneys. We act as the assistant to the attorney. We don't stand around with law books pontificating on the finer points of Rule 23. We don't do that. We are multitasking, administrative, clerical, research, drafting documents, talking to the clients, and more. Dealing with vendors sometimes. So, talking to the judicial assistant of the judge we're dealing with. It's multifaceted. So the more that you learn about each of those areas, the more prepared you'll feel, more confident you'll feel, and you'll rise. Okay? You're on your way, whether you're in school, 2-year program, certificate program, or none of the above. You can do this. Okay? You can do it. A lot of us have. And we all started, every single paralegal started his or her job with 0 experience. It's the legal knowledge that you need. The software knowledge. Okay? Any of those areas that you feel unprepared, you're deficient, don't rely on anybody else. Seek it out. Google is your BFF, okay? Any questions while I'm on here, please ask. Don't be shy, or ask later. You can email me privately at paralegalcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. I love helping you out. Think about taking, like I said, the Paralegal Inner Circle class when it launches on the 15th of this month, and the Cover Letter Secrets class. If you're in the middle of a 2-year program or certificate program, I would say wait till you get to the end of that so you don't overwhelm yourself, because you don't want to take a course and not finish it. Okay? So take everything I said and mull that over. And you're in those programs right now, finish. If you're saying, Leslie, I don't have the money to spend on that. I feel like I'm being left out. You are not being left out. Not in any way, shape, or form. You can still get in this career. You just have, and you're all starting on a level playing field. Same foundation. You've got to have foundation skills, as I mentioned in my book, Legal Break-In. Those rock-solid Microsoft Word skills, that's where I would focus. because you don't have time to learn any of that on the job. You'll feel overwhelmed then. And I want to reduce that overwhelm for you as much as possible, okay? All right, have a great day. If you are commenting and I'm not seeing it, that's Facebook, and I'll see it after we're done, and then I'll comment back. But have a great Friday, great weekend. Take care. And again, questions, comments on the YouTube channel, which is Paralegal Career Mastermind, or on the Facebook page here, Paralegal Coffee Talk. I love to hear your questions, and it helps other people as well that are maybe not saying it, you know, and then you ask it, and then it's like, that's how I feel. Hey, Regina. Oh, thanks so much. Glad you enjoyed it. So again, and I'm glad you all are here with me today. Again, I can't say this enough. I love hearing from you, and your questions will help other people as well. So don't be timid, don't be shy. Paralegals ask questions, and we take notes. We write everything down, and we don't throw anything away. We're hoarders of information. So remember that, okay? Have a great one, and I'll talk to you in next week's videos. Bye.